somebody were to ask me, oh, what do you do? I don't say, oh yeah, I'm a manager or I'm a personal trainer. Oh, and then I do music on the side. They're gonna treat it like you did music on the side. I say I'm a creative, I'm an artist. I also do X, Y, and Z. You know, like just overall, just being in people's business, I don't understand it.
So you wouldn't apply for like Love Island or?
Actually, I almost was on the show last season.
Oh my goodness!
but that's building a brand. It's a little different. I'm not somebody who's gonna like, act like my stuff don't stink. Like everybody does.
Welcome to the Lavatory podcast.
Exactly. Right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lavatory podcast, the podcast about anything and everything, because no matter who you are, what you do, at some point in the day, you find yourself in the bathroom. And I like to use this as the connecting factor to join different people's different perspectives. And my guest today couldn't be any more different than myself. Give it up for King Titus, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up? Now, appreciate you having me, man.
Oh, of course, King. Welcome, man. Now, I say that you couldn't be any more different because, I'm only 5'11". You're standing like 6'3", 6'4" in those Tims.
That's what they say, man. With the Tims, 6'4", 6'5", you know what I'm saying?
Compared to you, I would be considered dark skinned. You're light skinned. You got tattoos. I ain't got no tattoos. You're in shape. I'm getting there. You can sing. I can't really sing. You can dance, man. I'm a little uncoordinated. So there couldn't be any more different from my perspective, man. But I appreciate you coming here.
I appreciate you for having me, man.
Some time with us, man. How are you feeling today?
Yes, sir, man. I'm blessed, man, as always. So I feel like every day you can wake up is a day to get better. So you know what I'm saying? So
that's true.
I'm here,
That's true. Now, we met for the first time at a concert in Temecula, which, from my perspective, growing up, I've been here in like Menifee, Temecula area for about 16 years.
Right.
Hosting something that's like yours at the Promenade is kind of like a damn, you kind of made it. And I feel like, and I've heard like that's on the regular for you. So can we go back to that day and kind of like how you put that on and kind of the things you worked through and how that day went for you?
How did that even come about? Well, it was always my idea to kind of do something like within the area that kind of combines the business aspect and music itself. Because music is a business. Like we all know, but I always wanted to do something in that area because I feel like I'm always going to LA. I'm always going to sometimes I go to San Diego, but always going to LA and these metro areas that are like big on music and entertainment and, media. But nobody's really bringing that in this area. And I get it because it's not a metro area or whatever, but I live out here. So I feel like if the people in your city and your like proximity can like, become supporters, it's even easier to kind of just get to the next level. So I figured we are going to do something local and what better place than like the Promenade where most people kind of, meet up. So that was the idea behind the location at least. So
gotcha. And I feel like we're actually jumping ahead a little bit because your main thing would be like music.
Right.
You also do like fashion and I've seen you do some acting stuff and some films and short films and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
Can we talk about the origin of King Titus and kind of how you started into like this creative journey and developed all these different skills and pursued all these different avenues? Can we start from the beginning and kind of how'd you get her? Yeah.
I'm young. I'm 24, but it feels like I've been doing it for a long, long time. But my first time I stepped in front of a mic, I was 7 years old. It's proof of it too. If you want to look up YouTube, for some reason back then my name was my name was Young Swag. I don't know, whatever. Somebody gave me that name and I just rocked with it. But this is during the jerking the era when we were like rejecting and pin dropping and doing all that.
Yep.
So I think that's where
shout out Newsboys. Shout out the Rangers.
See, man,
shout
my guy.
Indigo.
You already know. See, he know what I'm talking about. But that's where that whole just inspirational music started. Age of 7 years old. My father being a producer, he's worked with New Edition and New Kids on the Block and those types of groups. So of course, coming up in that household, you're gonna get into music one way or another, So I think I kind of just, try to copy my brother, my dad, and just being a kid, trying to do what other people are doing. And I kind of fell in love with it as I gotten older, and I just stayed with it. I don't know. I tried sports. I played sports for years and enjoyed it for a little bit, but I always found my way back to music. So really, to answer your question, just being around the right people, staying inspired and continuing to just keep trying. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And so what came first when it came to music? Was it like instruments? Was it singing? I know you can dance too. Like, did you kind of start off like
it really
dancing?
Was dancing, bro.
Oh,
like
okay.
I saw myself as a person that didn't make the music too much, so I'm gonna just get up there and dance. Like my brother had like like we are just talking about the new boys and stuff. He had like a group at the time. They were called the Swag Kids, and they like. You familiar with the Vista Marietta High School?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they went there. They performed at the rallies and all of that type of stuff. And me being like little bro, I would just try to be like them, but I didn't think too much about making music. I was like, let me just go up there and pin drop and like do like a little thing. So that was my thing, and I would watch like Usher and Prince and people like that, and just see them perform, and I kind of was fascinated by that, yeah, I would just kind of just emulate what I was seeing, you know what I mean? But it was always dancing first, and then my dad was like, "Let's put him in the studio," and I didn't know what I was doing. It's a funny video if you look it up. Like you can tell I was so like new to this and didn't really know what I was doing, but I was having fun. So, but yeah, dancing was the first thing for sure.
Okay, gotcha. And so then, um, your dad kind of introduced you to like the singing side and making music from that side. Was he like a vocal coach for you? Like, how'd you get so good at singing?
Man, it's funny because it's actually the complete opposite. I started off rapping just out of default. I switched to singing once I turned like 17, maybe. So I was real late with it, just because it just made sense. Like I said earlier, music is a business, and as much as R&B was my favorite genre, I never saw myself as a singer because I couldn't sing. I just couldn't sing, bro. Like I couldn't even sing "Happy Birthday" without sounding crazy. I don't know. I think certain stuff is hereditary, but a lot of it is you have to work. You know what I mean? Like you can work your vocals almost like as you're in the gym and you're working your bicep. Like it's not the exact same thing, but I'm proof of you can get better for sure. Because I used to not sing whatsoever, and I actually have in my phone like me documenting my progress over the years, like
Oh,
from
okay.
when I was 17 until now. Just stuff here and there, like a quick little clip of me singing a song I like. Used to sound crazy, but I'm like, let me keep it so I can document my progress. But I would just start off rapping, and then my dad being a singer, my sister could sing, and then just some of my favorite artists being singers. I was like, let me try singing because not only do I enjoy it, like listening to it more, I dance, and everybody that I know that makes music that dances can sing, and I'm like, I'll be the only one out there rapping and dancing. Is that even cool? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, let me make this make sense. So I just started working in that aspect, and I
Yeah.
got better. So
I mean, a lot of people too would see that that portion about recording your progress in the beginning and just recording little by little as like a discouragement, because
right,
if you're not good off the bat, at least I'm the type of person like if I'm not good at something like right away, like
yeah,
I
yeah,
get
yeah.
immediately frustrated or don't want to keep pursuing it.
Exactly.
But you kind of like persevered through that. Can you talk more about the importance of perseverance and kind of how that's played a role in your career and some of the successes you've had?
For sure. I mean, some of my favorite songs that I've made came after that point of me just saying, let me just push myself in that area. And numbers wise, and even just internally, like I actually resonate with a lot of my music better because I saw myself doing that, and then I worked in that aspect. And now that I'm doing it, it resonates with me more. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have to just I don't know. I didn't have to just be okay with what I was doing. I was like, okay, right now I may sound a certain way, but if I just keep pushing an aspect, it'll pop the way that it's supposed to. And I mean, it's still a work in progress. Like everybody, even some of the greatest singers have stuff that they need to work on, that they would like to work on. And I don't really even still consider myself a singer. I just make music. You know what I mean? Obviously, if they say, "Oh, what lane do you fall in?" R&B is my main genre, but like I just make music. Some days I might wake up and make a full rap project. Next day I just sing the whole time. But
Yeah.
like you say, persevering, man, that's everything. So
Right. And can you talk about that shift between it being a hobby and then pursuing it as a career? Because I mean, like you said, you're young, 24, so you probably graduated like what, 2017,
19. Yeah,
2018?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And especially like, COVID is right about to happen
Man,
the year
I got
after.
out of there right on time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Can you talk about like what you were going through at that time in your life when you decided like what career path and
yeah.
financial pursuit I want to choose, and how you came to music and what other options were there available to you?
For sure. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this as a kid, but a lot of that at that time was just trying to be like Big Brother and trying to be like Pops. But I think when it clicked was like in high school, because you're thinking about, okay, I got to graduate soon. I got to pick if I'm going to college, which I went to college. I majored in business, but still was kind of rooted in music itself because I'm thinking, okay, if I have a business degree, I can work really anywhere in the meantime, and then still pursue what I'm doing and invest into my dream, right? But when it clicked was like, I think it was like junior year, and I was at basketball practice. I was like, yo, do I really want to keep showing up to practice, man? I loved basketball. It's still one of my favorite sports, but I would be the guy like on the side dancing. You know what I'm saying? Like I hear some music in the back, I'm dancing. And King, pay attention. I'm like, my bad. Like that's me. So I'm like, this. I wouldn't want to do this as a long term thing. I kind of just enjoyed it. So I think that was a time, and then I was like, let me be a little bit more serious about this. I would dedicate time out of my day to make sure I'm recording crazy. Like, I was making like 4 songs a day at that time, going to sleep at like 4 in the morning. Like this was crazy, but it was necessary. You know what I mean? Because going through that nowadays, things feel natural, things feel smoother because I put in the work and I put in the what do they say, the 10,000 hours per se. But yeah, right around like junior year going into senior year, just prepping myself to make sure that this is what I'm going after, this is what I want to do, and that's final. So
Gotcha. So it sounds like the passion came before like any premature results. Because I know a lot of people will, either get like some moderately like hit single or some type of buzz or
right,
virality, and then they'll say, "Oh, I think I might want to like take this seriously." But for you, it sounds like you had the passion first and the drive to pursue like again like those 10,000 hours versus
yeah,
like any immediate results that you already had, which is really a testament to like your character
exactly, yeah,
and
yeah,
drive. That's really cool. That's kind of the same about what's happening now with this podcast,
for sure.
because trying to convince people that oh yeah, like doing something in the bathroom is going to be like
Hmm.
a great niche and platform
Yeah.
to share stuff. It's kind of like a hard sell, especially when I tell people like, oh yeah, I have a podcast. Like, oh, what is it about? What
Hmm.
do you do? It's like, well, I do it in my bathroom, and
Yeah, and
it's
then they're
it's just
asking questions and
just
stuff.
asking questions and talking, because that's my whole thing. Is like I want to be able to understand people and
100%.
connect with people,
Yeah.
and I feel like somebody like you, typically most people would see and think, "Wow, this guy's standoffish. Like he's like
Hmm.
he's probably too cool for school. He don't want to be associated with anybody and anything." But
Yeah.
from what I've seen from our interactions, you try your best to like connect and bring
Anybody.
together
Yeah, yeah.
the community. And so
100%.
bringing it back now to the Temecula event that we like were a part of, can you talk about how you like found some of those unique characters? Because it wasn't just a bunch of people like you up there. Like there was
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah.
country people, there was some
It's all
cover
over the place,
ballads.
right?
It was a whole collective group.
Hmm.
Different speakers and stuff like that. So can you talk about your passion when it comes to connecting people and how you're so good at it?
For sure, man. Honestly, and I appreciate that, by the way, because that is something that I value. I try to do well at, making sure people are working together and I just love networking, really. But to answer your question, I think how I got to the point of getting all those people together was just really just social interaction, remembering people. Like when I meet people, I like to remember, not just, hey, nice to meet you. Okay, carry on. Like I like to remember the conversation we had. I'm big on just being present. When you speaking with somebody, when you're dealing with somebody, because you never know. Not necessarily if you're gonna end up working with that person, but just if that person's gonna need you and vice versa. Because I mean that's the world that we live in, where everybody is kind of fiending for themselves. But if you kind of step outside of that and you be more personable, that can be a blessing to you in disguise. You don't even know. So I try my best to do that. But a lot of people went to high school with that was out there performing. Some people I never met. It was more so like a referral thing. Hey, any other artists? Let me know. I'm having an event. Blah blah blah, and that would happen. But a lot of it is just utilizing social media, like I mentioned, social interactions, and then like if I remember, oh, this person used to make music. Let me see what they've been up to. Okay, they actually been doing their thing. Hey, you want to be a part of this event? So that's where a lot of those artists and those acts came together from. So
Gotcha. Yeah. And where does that value system when it comes to being genuine when it comes to interactions? Like,
mm,
did your dad instill that in you? Did your mom instill that in you, or is it a collection of both? And can you talk about some of those values? Where did they come from,
mm,
and the impact that they had on you to kind of ingrain them into your belief
yeah.
system?
I think internally it probably is a little bit from my parents, and then like just in the physical, it's likely just because that's just what it is for this industry. Like you have to be able to shake hands and meet people. And I probably just learned that over the way. But I say internally because like my dad is somebody who's like he'll use any opportunity to promote. It doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter who it is. He can talk to the Starbucks worker that's doing like the register, and somehow they end up listening to my music. Like that's why I always have big respect for him because he's always pushing the needle and no matter what's going on, he's gonna make sure that people find out about the music, which at times seems like it's a little over the top, but if you want to make it in this industry, man, you got to be that way. Some of the biggest artists, they're not gonna let nobody go without knowing they just dropped the album they just did. You know what I mean? And that stuff is you can learn from that a lot. And then as far as like the communication thing, my mom, she does she's an author, but she does like motivational speaking and stuff like that. And I think that's just probably something that's hereditary. She's good with dealing with people. She knows how to touch people and just speak on different things that most people go through. So I try my best to kind of incorporate that thing, like that type of testament when I'm dealing with, even music related stuff. Because at the end of the day, it's an outlet for me. You know what I mean? So it's not just because I love doing it and it's cool. It's more so because there's been times where you may not have felt like yourself, but you made that song and now you feel great afterwards, so.
Yeah. I mean, that's beautiful, man. Like a lot of people don't even really get that type of blessing to be able to learn and pull from such, solid individuals
Yeah.
like from your parents. Like
Yeah.
I grew up with a single mom, and then that mom was like in the military. So I was kind of like always
Yeah.
on my own, and in the sense of like learning some of these social habits and kind of getting to the same value system that like you kind of have,
Yeah.
but just kind of either through like trial by fire or just like
Yeah.
watching
Figuring it out yourself.
the outcome of the vice versa, what happens when you
Yeah.
don't do that kind of stuff. And so it's really cool to hear you have that. Now, when it comes to like your career, I'm sure it hasn't always been sunshine and roses.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's still an end goal that you're trying to get to.
For sure.
But even where you're at right now, I know a lot of people would kill to just even have the success that you have now.
Mm-hmm.
Last I checked, about like 25,000 plus, followers on Instagram, and you've done like shows all through LA, San Diego.
Yeah.
You've put on your own events, your own fashion brand.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of the hardships that you had to deal with when it came to putting on those events and getting to where you're at right now, some of those hardships you had to face and endure, and how did you handle those?
I think, to touch on just some of the hardships, even recently having to cancel an event just for it's really one main reason, just politics, in the area that we live in. But it's more so just, just keeping your mind like what the goal is. And that always been a way for me to overcome really anything. At the end of the day, I wouldn't be where I am right now if I allowed stuff like that to stop me. You know what I'm saying? So I think when it came to the most recent event we did, we had prepped everything, spent a lot of money and time on prepping the event. And then at the last second, some mysterious law came out that was, I guess, in place before we signed our contract, saying that we weren't able to have the event because of whatever that law was. But to me, it was just a little bit of, the race thing coming into play, which I'm not somebody who even plays a victim with stuff like that, because at the end of the day, man, it is what it is. If people are going to think what they think, God bless you from afar. I keep it moving. But this was, evidently something that, that came into play, but it is what it is. So that's a hardship that I think just as a black man, you're always going to deal with here and there. But versus letting that stop me, I'm just the type of person where, okay, I'm just going to adjust and we're going to plan for a different area, a different venue, a different, event. So I think more recently it was like a day party event we were throwing. It's for like a business mixer, and it ended up falling through like the 2 days before because of that. So, but yeah, that, and then just along the journey, just dealing with different things here and there, family stuff. Mental health is something I like to touch on when it comes to some events that I throw, because it's something that a lot of people deal with, and music can be a good outlet for that. So,
got you. Yeah, what you kind of touched on earlier about just some of the things you have to deal with as a black man in the area that we live in.
Yeah.
It's not always so easy to just come as you are, as you
100%.
as a lot of like things.
You gotta come the
gets
condensed
eroded.
version.
You got to come with conditions and be conditional. And how do you manage like being able to call something out and speak truth without being a victim? Like how do you manage that tension of like, hey, like I want to be able to shed light on the reality of a situation, but like, I'm not victimizing myself because we persevere. Like how do you manage that tension when it comes to like the questions and like, what happened, blah blah blah,
That's a good question. Honestly, I don't even really know, man. I like to not stress when it comes to really anything because I've stressed about a lot in my past, you know? So nowadays when it comes to stuff like that, you're gonna have your moments where you get upset, where you kind of, just overthink for a second and just have to feel that, which is normal. But I don't really even know. I've just been somebody who's like, things may be what they are, but it's not gonna define the outcome, because I could have said, hey, that's the last event I'm throwing because I'm mad because they canceled it, whatever. But then I would be doing a disservice to anybody that I can ever inspire in the future. So you got to keep that in mind. And that's what I do keep in mind because there's people that I looked up to, and imagine if they would have stopped, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now because that stuff inspired me when I kept going. So,
Yeah, and that's not the only time I've seen you pivot before.
for
We
sure.
also did another event for your birthday
Yeah,
last year, and there
exactly.
was some pivoting that had to go
100%.
on with that in LA, in
Yeah.
LA. Can you talk more about that from your perspective? Because
Man, and that
I
was
know a lot
funny.
of people
Yeah,
were
that
were
was funny
confused
because
and
I was just as confused as y'all. So, it's a celebrity fashion guru is what he calls himself slash like business owner. Um, decent dude. We've done events with him before. We performed some of his shows before. They wanted to throw me a birthday party. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, whatever. I wasn't planning on doing it for my birthday, but let's do it. So we pulled up, and the exact reason why we had to change locations, I wasn't sure. I just know he got into it with the venue owner right before the show happened, and I'm like, or the event or the party, right? And I'm sitting there doing like sound check because I plan on performing, and we go to change, and before I even head back, they're like, "Oh, we switching the location." I'm like, What happened?" I'm calling my homies. I'm like, "Yo, I don't know what's going on." They're like, "Well, what happened?" I'm like, "I just heard that he got into it with the venue owner." I think part of it was he was trying to charge my people at the, or not him, but the venue owner was trying to charge my people at the door. And if it's a birthday event, when has that ever been a thing of charging the people's family and friends at the door? That doesn't make sense, right? Unless it's like a separate event. But if it's a birthday party, if you my people, you get in for free. So if that was the main thing, then that's what it was. But I kind of stayed out of that conversation, and then we just went to the next spot. I was more so just like I was ready to go to bed at that point, man. It was like 2 in the morning. I was like, I'm tired, man.
yeah, I mean, how long did you stay out there? Because I think I left at like
Man, I snuck
twelve
out at 3 in
thirty,
the morning,
3 in the
man.
morning. Phew.
I was like, "What's that?" And everybody looked. I was headed this way. I was gone, man. But I had to get up out of there, man.
Yeah, man, that was an interesting night. I mean, like,
Yeah,
thank you for inviting me to that too, because
hundred
I got
percent
I got paid off of that unintentionally, like
from the
doing from the
guy,
camera.
right?
Yeah, from the I don't know
Forgot
if
the name of it.
it's champagne or it starts with a P.
Purdue or something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, that stuff is not that. It wasn't that good.
I didn't even try it.
You
I
didn't try
don't
it? I
know.
took so many pictures of you
I
with
was
it.
all over the place. Yeah, I was holding the bottle. I don't really drink. I'm gonna keep it real with you. That's probably the main reason why. But I should have tried it out of respect for him, but because I think he sponsored that event or
Yeah,
that.
probably. Hey man, hey, and
Hey,
thank you for the $100. I mean, I took pictures like do what
yeah,
I
we was
could.
doing it. We was doing our thing though. It was
But I
cool.
tasted it and it's just like it just was not good. So if you actually asked me for my opinion, it's like, you know,
Hey man, at least you honest,
I
man.
get it. That's
Shout
just
out
all
to
we can
you
do.
though, still for hooking it up, man. We
Yeah,
appreciate
keep
you.
your hustle, man. Like,
Yeah,
fuck
yeah,
me. Who cares? Like, you're doing your thing. You already have your business going. Like, who
hundred
gives a
percent.
shit? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
maybe
yeah.
maybe it is good. I'm not a wine connoisseur or a
Got
champagne
you.
guy.
So you probably already in that.
Yeah, I
Got
only
it.
like sweet stuff like Moscato, cocktails, stuff like that.
You like
Ciders.
red
I don't even
wines
drink
and stuff
beer.
like that.
Yeah, yeah, like get a little bit of that. But
Got you.
who am I to say?
Hey man, we like what we like.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with that.
So yeah, you said you don't drink. I'm assuming you don't do a lot of things because
I
you're in
just be
impeccable shape.
chilling, working out, music, just the typical or whatever. And it's funny. I meet a lot of people when I say that they're like, "You don't drink, you don't smoke." I'm like, "Nah," and it's not because I'm just anti this, anti that. I just never been somebody who woke up and wanted to. I don't know. That doesn't pop in my mind to try it. I'll just be chilling, man. I've drank before, of course, but it's never been something that I really care to do that much. And if so, then I would do it. But just 24 years of living, I never really made it a priority. I just be doing my thing, man.
Yeah,
So
and you don't feel like any pressure at all to kind of dive into that stuff to kind of be a part of like the waves or
nah,
crowds to like try to stand out and stuff like that
it don't. It
because
just don't feel like I said. I would much rather be somebody who just completely does it because I want to, not because so and so's doing it. Let me. Nah, to me, I would feel corny for doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm my own biggest critic, so I would never allow myself to be like, okay. I would sit there and be like, yo, what are you doing? You doing this because they doing it? Like, stop it. You know what I'm saying? So I much rather be like, I'm doing it because I want to do it. So
Yeah. And do you
But
have you ever felt any other peer pressure to kind of do things or either events or
mm,
promotionals or songs or anything,
uh,
projects? Because like, oh, hey man, if you do like this, like that's gonna send you to the
industry,
next thing.
yeah, they try
Yeah.
to, yeah. I've met people that will say, "Man, you got to start doing these type of." People be like, "You got to do this type of content." You go crazy after that. I'm like, "That's not me though. I got to stay true to me." First of all, I grew up in a church. You know what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? And I'll just be like, "That's just not me, man." Like, I'm into fitness and stuff like that. I don't mind posting fitness content and stuff like that, but it's just to go off of what you said. There's a lot of I don't know if pressure's the word, but there's a lot of influence in that department where it's like if you're somebody who doesn't have your own way of thinking and your own standards, you will fall in line like everybody else. So
Hmm. And you just mentioned like having like a Christian like upbringing,
yes, sir.
but not necessarily a Christian artist, like in the same
Like
category as
gospel
like
music.
Lecrae or No
Yeah,
Big
no.
Deal or anything like that.
Mm,
Can you talk about like having that balance between like the type of art you want to
mm,
pursue and like still maintaining like your Christian identity
yeah,
and faith? Um, well, also like maintaining like the artist side of you, because I know some
100%.
people, especially like in the more so like in the Christian music
Yeah,
wave, they just want anybody who's a Christian or claims to be a Christian to just make
gospel
Christian,
music. Yeah,
gospel music.
100%. I think there's definitely a lot of components from gospel music that I love that you can apply to genres like R&B and stuff. It's really just the vocal arrangement, harmonies and stuff like that. So musically, there's a lot of influence there. I mean, a lot of R&B singers are also people like myself who grew up in the church. They might have even sung choir themselves. So there's a lot of influence there. As far as how I keep the balance, it's really just staying true to who I am. Like I even like, and this is obviously separate from Christian music, but even somebody like Michael Jackson, he doesn't swear in any of his music, right? But he's the biggest artist in the world. You know what I'm saying? And that goes to show what you don't have to swear in your music to make good music. You know, so if you play any of my songs, you notice I don't swear in my music, and it's not because that's gonna forever be the case. It might honestly forever be the case because at this point, if I'm 24 and I'm doing just fine, I'll probably be just fine, right? But it's just from the point of when I'm conveying this message in this song, or I'm feeling this way by saying these lines or whatever the melody is. I don't feel compelled to do that because I want the person who has a 6-year-old son or a 6-year-old daughter or and a 65-year-old brother to be able to both play the same song and not have to skip it because this was said. Or I just want my stuff to be universal because I feel like it's good for business. Like we spoke about earlier, sometimes you have to go about stuff a little different as a black man. Um, Not to say that I'm giving a condensed version of myself because I'm not. I'm still being true to who I am. Um, it just so happens that I'm okay with making the type of music I'm making because it's normal for me, but it also benefits when I'm in those rooms and stuff like that. Like, yeah, you might have the tattoos and stuff, but turn on my music, you'll enjoy it. I got some certain songs that are edgier than others, but it's still nothing that an adult wouldn't understand. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like it's a balance between being able to be played of all ages, but at the same token, not being like corny or also not doing too much. Like I try to fall right in that middle happy medium.
Yeah. And kind of going back to like perception from a different angle,
Yeah.
because you had mentioned like there's one thing of how you have to be perceived and carry yourself like to the public and Temecula especially.
Yeah.
And then you like have all these like tattoos and you're probably perceived one way by like men and women. Can you talk
Hmm.
about some of like the common misconceptions you hear when it comes to like how people perceive like, oh, I thought
Yeah.
you were like this, like
Oh,
what
for
were some of
sure.
the more common misconceptions you
Yeah.
had?
It's not super, super common, which is good. But there's definitely been times like that where oh, like you're actually cool, or like, or even musically, I get people that'll say like, "Man, your music's actually good," and I'm like, "Well, I hope so." Like, I spent almost 20 years on it, but I think it's just because people are so accustomed to somebody trying to do something, and I think part of it is the artist's fault. So, like for example, like for myself, even being an artist, I still work in the fitness industry. Like we spoke about that earlier before we started, and that being my thing that I also use because one, I like fitness, but also it makes money and I can invest into my music and my business. Um, Something like that. If somebody were to ask me, "Oh, what do you do?" I don't say, "Oh, yeah, I'm a manager or I'm a personal trainer." Oh, and then I do music on the side. They're gonna treat it like you do music on the side. I say I'm a creative. I'm an artist. I also do X, Y, and Z, you know? Because then they take it more serious. Why is that? I think it's just human psychology. People assume that, hey, if you dumb something down, I'm gonna do the same thing, you know? But if you really love something, you're not gonna dumb it down. So I've always been somebody that just keep that the same feeling that I have inside of how like much I trust myself with this thing and how good I'm gonna be in it. I share that with the person I'm talking to about it. So
Got you. I just want to take a quick pause here. Enrique, am I still recording on the camera? Yeah. So good. Okay, good. Because I'm
cool.
notorious for
Oh
having
yeah.
technical difficulties. You know, I'm a one man. I'm a one
Imagine
man show
a
here.
great interview and you're like, wait, what
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah,
But
that actually did happen
really?
2 interviews
Oh
ago with
man.
my buddy Ryan Eccles.
Mhm.
I had recorded it. It was going great, and then I
Yeah.
checked, and I had my AirPods in my pocket, and then it like reconnected the thing and it messed it all up.
Oh man.
So I'm like a one man show here, but
So
shout out to
good.
Enrique behind the camera.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
one of your boys here. That actually brings up a good point I want to get into now when it comes to just like the people you keep around you and like the
Yep.
team you have. Because one thing that I really like about like your movement is that you have the same people kind of with you when
Yeah, you
it
pretty much
comes
see
to
the
these
same
events.
people.
You know,
Yeah.
I always see like other Isaiah, you know, on the turntables, like as like one of your
Exactly.
DJs for like anytime you do shows. And I always see you with like Duan and Enrique with like the camera and stuff like that. Can you talk about like the importance of having a team and you know, making sure you keep like consistency with that?
100%. I mean, I think one of the easiest answers is just the cliche statement of like, before you're where you're gonna be, you can trust the people around you the most before you're even there. Like in the beginning stages, I guess is what you can say. And even outside of that, because them being great people, it's also like you might meet somebody and they just keep ending up in the same proximity as you, and you guys get along. I don't think that's just a coincidence. I think that's God putting people in your life for a reason, and especially if you have uh, what's the word, like you like-minded, you know what I mean? You have similar goals. Sometimes you have similar like stuff that you've been through, because then you can use the testimonies that you've been through and kind of exchange that with that person, and then that can be good on mental health as well. So I think keeping the right people and keeping the right circle of influence is really really important, because the easiest distraction is when you have the wrong people around you. So.
Yeah. And how are you able to identify um, the right people from the wrong
Mm,
people? Because I've also been in different circles where we've tried to like do like group things and they've just kind of fallen apart because of like ego or like
yeah.
people wanting to like be the main kind of like spearhead.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to like, you know, dissect and
Yeah.
cause division within your group, but it's like
100%.
how are you able to identify that these people are actually here for you and not just riding a wave to get to the next thing, and then step on top of you to, you
Yeah.
know, see ya.
I think a big thing is if you can hear about a journey that somebody's been through and you can resonate with parts of it, and you've been through something similar and you see where they're at right now, there's a lot of like stuff that can, work there. Like for example, um, you mentioned Dewan earlier. I've known him since sixth grade, middle school. You know what I mean? Like, and then even somebody like Enrique, I haven't known him that long, but we've been through a lot of similar things with our upbringing, to where it's like, yo, you made it in this shape after being through that. I made it in this shape after being through that. That's not by chance. That's God. You know what I'm saying? And I don't take stuff like that for chance. You know what I mean? And especially on top of it, if you get along with somebody, and then you just start just building that relationship and go to this event and go to that event, and every time it's solid, it's like I don't think that's just something that is just supposed to be looked over. You know what I mean? That's a genuine bond, and that's something that we plan on just taking to we go through the roof with it. You know what I mean? So I think it's something that's powerful, and like I said, having even just one person in your circle that is not for you, you would know. It wouldn't take too long for you to find out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, because it sounds like the importance is having transparency about
yeah,
like who are you as a person, like what are your
yeah, I keep
intentions,
it real.
you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like sad that as men, because like it's all men here. You know, ladies, if you want to come on the podcast, we've only had one female guest. Feel free to come through. Um, as men, I feel like it is a challenge to kind of, you know, be vulnerable and open up and be
Mm.
transparent. How were you able to kind of overcome that general like insecurity as a man to be like, oh, you know what, it's
Yeah,
not,
to be okay
yeah, it's
talking
not
about
like
stuff,
weird
and
or
yeah,
gay or anything to like
honestly,
be heart
bro,
to heart with a man.
and that's crazy because I've always been somebody who I never even saw the opposite as a problem, and it could be upbringing. Like I think my father did a good job at showing me the difference between like, oh no, you still a man, be on your stuff, you a protector, look out for your sisters and your brothers and stuff like that. But at the same token, he still showed me a level of love that I know that I would have to reciprocate when it comes to my loved ones as well. And then I even went through a period of my time where it was a typical thing where parents split, single mom, had to get back, going from a stay at home mom to getting a job and struggled a little bit. And then saw her go through her avenue and get into the point where she was like the top person at her job, retired. And when I see that, I'm like, I have no excuse to not go hard because she just went from not having to do something to having to make something work to support me and my sister at the time. And then, just me just going through stuff like that. I'm like, none of this other stuff really matters. Like, I don't mind talking about nothing. I don't mind keeping it real because I done been through X, Y, and Z. The little stuff doesn't matter anymore. I think when people have high regard on worrying about different things, or even like you said, finding like insecurities and different stuff, they have too much time on their hands and too much, not enough experience or real stuff that made them really rethink what's really important. You know what I mean? And I had a lot of like moments where I had to realize like, oh no, this is what matters. We have to handle this first. And you get enough of those moments, all the other stuff is just noise, man. You know?
Yeah. No, that's real, man. Like I feel like um it probably didn't happen for me until I was like 18 and I was like out on the road. I had this touring job where I did public speaking at elementary and middle school and
Oh,
high
that's
schools
nice.
to do anti-bullying.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was kind of like my big, I kind of like made it moment.
Yeah,
It was
that's
a really
cool.
cool job. I
Yeah,
was traveling all over the country and I had like a company car and
that's tight.
like a budget to like stay at hotels and eat and stuff like that. So pretty
Hmm.
much everything was paid for.
That's awesome.
But I still wasn't like happy with myself, and I felt like I was always trying to have to prove, my value to people back at home because I
Yeah.
felt, um, underappreciated or not really like respected, and I thought this was going to be like the thing that garnered me like all this like praise and love and admiration.
Yeah.
But when I felt like it still wasn't doing it, and I realized I was in myself that I didn't feel satisfied with who I was. I had to call these people and kind of open up and tell them what I was going through and some of the issues I had in some of those earlier like friendships and relationships. And that was a big breakthrough for me when it came to being honest, is like, oh, I have to realize what's happening with myself internally before I can, you know, engage or interact with anybody else like externally outside
Right.
of myself. Um, Now, one thing that was like a complete different side note because I'm about to ask you
No,
a
no.
question that
I,
not
I
even
feel you
related to
though.
that.
Yeah,
A lot of what you're saying right now is like about being hopeful and being honest and being transparent and having good morals and values. But even then, it's always such a tragedy to see a light like yours kind of either be taken advantage of or try to be tarnished or taken down like as you're trying to make momentum up, especially when it comes to like rumors or like accusations, anything like that.
yeah.
Because let's be honest, objectively, you're a very handsome, attractive guy. I'm sure you've
I
had a
hope
lot of
so. I hope so.
interactions with you know, the opposite sex, let's
Yeah,
say, and
definitely.
how do you balance like the love and attention from like women
Hmm.
without it like getting to a point where it's like, they're like spreading rumors and gossiping, like, or has it
Yeah.
happened? You've had to deal with that.
The gossip and rumors thing, never, and thank God, right? There would really be no reason to though. I think I've always been somebody that's like, yes, dealt with women and been in like relationships and stuff that wasn't for me, of course, just like everybody else. But like even in some of I guess the worst situations, it was still like me being transparent the whole time. And then if at times where I made a mistake or I messed up, I speak on it. You know what I mean? And not that I wouldn't make mistakes and mess stuff up. It would just be that hey, like I'm not somebody who's gonna like act like my stuff don't stink. Like everybody does.
Welcome to the Lavatory
Life.
podcast.
Exactly, right. Everybody has stuff they gotta work on, and when it comes to relationships or just companionship in general, with women, I just try my best to just keep it real and understand who the person is. And if it's 100% purely lust, then most likely it's not somebody that I should be around anyways. It doesn't mean that I've never been there before. I've been there before, of course, just like most men. But I along the way learned that like if you couldn't, I don't know, if you hesitant about making somebody like this your wife or somebody that you would want to go there with, it's likely not something you should involve yourself in anyways, because there's not much good that can come from that. So I'm learning that day by day, of course, but nonetheless, never really have to deal with anything like that. Thankfully, I think it's just because I'm just really careful of the company that I keep. So I'm gonna try to keep it that way.
There you go. Now, are you dating anybody? Are you, single? Are you, on the market? Should I put you on the market like that, or
I'm working on
where you
my
at?
working on my album right now.
Oh,
man,
okay.
So.
You really have an
Hey,
album coming out?
either way, I'm somebody. I'm real. I'm I'm real. Not I don't like the word secretive. I'm real protective of stuff like that, whether it be family, whether it be a relationship, because this world is crazy, man. You know what I mean? And you never know who is has the wrong idea in their mind about you and stuff like that. So I just try my best to just stay focused on what I'm working on, and then when it comes to public stuff, I just find that when a lot of people go public with different things, it always turns out the same. That's what I've seen, and I know I may be able to go about stuff differently, but either way, man, just focus on the music. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
there you
So,
go. Yeah, I've never really understood, public like relationships where
yeah,
they're like a couple like online, because it just always there's always something going on behind the scenes. Like I don't know if you know
man.
about that one couple. Oh my god, I forgot their names, but it was like the black couple, and like the husband was like a cook, and like the woman did like pranks. Let me look it up.
I don't think.
Man, she like dressed up like as Squidward and went to Chick-fil-A. What was her name?
That's that sounds wild. I don't know. Squidward and Chick-fil-A.
Oh, black. You know what? It doesn't matter, because the point is, people always want to like romanticize or idolize stuff online. And
Yeah,
that's
I
not
don't, and that I can't stand that stuff, man. And I think there's components of it that is somewhat understandable when it comes to like when women are really interested in stuff like that, because it's like I don't know, they seem to like the drama, TV shows, and just different things like that. So I can see that being of interest to them. And even if you're a guy who likes that type of stuff, whatever. But when it comes to like just overall, just being in people's business, I don't understand it,
So you
man.
wouldn't apply for like Love Island or all
Actually,
these
I
other.
almost was
You
on the
almost
show
did?
last season.
Oh
Yeah.
my
but
goodness.
but that's building a brand. It's a little different, you know.
Oh, so it was just work for you, like you
That
and
would
then
have been
Betsy,
work for me,
seriously. Oh, got you,
100%.
got you, got you.
Yeah, but they watching this. I'm looking for love. Is what you would have to say if you're on the show. But this is definitely something that it's a super popular show, and it's something that can be really beneficial for people's brands, regardless. And I think it's 2026. It was last year. I got all the way up to the point where you interview with the producer, and then you have to like send like it was like 35 pictures of you and your family and a bunch of different things about
That's too
yourself.
much.
It's a lot.
They got that on the vault
Yeah,
somewhere.
it's a lot. So yeah, shout out to Love Island though. But yeah.
Got you. Okay, maybe next time. Maybe.
Yeah, that's the first. I didn't hear from them after that. I had like 4 interviews and then got to that point. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm heading in the right direction. And they were like, you definitely could do good on a show like this. We think you got it. So just hear back in the next like 4 weeks. Never heard back within the next 4 weeks. But hey, it is what it is, you know.
Maybe that's for the best. Man.
Maybe it
I'm
was
not
a
gonna
good
lie.
thing. Yeah, you
Because
never
whatever
know.
happened to that one dude that got caught slipping and then like
He had like a girl or something.
no, his asshole was like online or everything.
That's
Like
crazy.
somebody
See,
leaked. You didn't hear about that? Somebody leaked pictures
See,
of
look.
him taking pictures of his like hole.
He did it of himself
Yes.
on the show.
Not
I
on
thought
the
I
show.
about to say I don't think
Not
they
on the
can
show.
have.
No,
I
not
about
on
to say
the
they can't
show.
have phones on the show
No,
for like.
but it was like
3
somebody
weeks or something.
prior or somebody. I think it was somebody prior who knew him.
Oh, so
Oh, this
okay,
guy's
so
a-
they're like,
yeah,
oh, he's
he-
famous now. Let
yeah,
me
he's a
just make
freakazoid.
his life. Yeah,
Yes.
he's a freakazoid. Oh, you want
Man.
to? Oh man,
You didn't hear about that
yes.
story?
Nah, man,
Whew, I'm
that's
telling you, man. Love Island. If
that's
you
a
on that
little
show and they
interesting,
don't like
man.
you, they will
Yeah,
find
you
your
better go in there with no
skeletons.
enemies. Yeah, you better go in there with no.
You gotta be likable.
Man,
Man. Don't
what?
do it to yourself. That's crazy. Um,
That's funny.
man. Okay, so we've kind of derailed from the main point here. Getting back to you, we talked about the music side. Let's talk about your interest, like in fashion, because you have a
Yeah.
fashion brand. Can you talk more about what that is and how you came up with it?
Yeah, so the brand is called Troop A. It's really just I like to just call it a brand, and I know that sounds
Is that a
so
word that?
Troop A. So we kind of made it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the word troop, obviously being like a group of performing artists, and it's more so a term used in like the performing arts category in theater and stuff. You have a troupe. That's what that is. But we just swagged it out, man. We put the accent over the E. It really just I made it up just like that. Like I was thinking about cool words like that, and I was like. Troop is a group of people that do what we do, but Troop is too similar to the R&B group Troop. I don't want the two to get lost. So let me think a little bit. A few minutes went by, and I was talking to a homie of mine, and I was like, "What if we just said Troop A and put an accent over the E, like some of these other like designer brands are?" And I said, and we can still hold the same narrative of, we're creatives, but we can still offer apparel. We can still put on events. We can still do different things like that. And I think the best way I can describe my vision is taking like, I don't know, like a Calvin Klein and then like a Sony and putting it together. Because it's two entities that are already thriving. We're not creating anything new. We're just doing more with one entity. You know what I mean? So that's why we put on those events, and at those events, you'll see people wearing our clothing. So it's just more so really just making yourself your own um, liaison between a good show and selling good products. And we're still in the early stages of the apparel development side of things, but we like to do different things here and there, like be a part of fashion shows and stuff, just to see how people respond to the pieces, because then those will be the stuff we highlight first when we drop. So
Got you. Very cool. And can you like talk more about like where that interest in fashion came from to pursue that as another creative endeavor?
yeah,
Because I know fashion has developed so much over each decade has its own like unique fashion, but it seems like it's coming full circle again. I mean, I'm not
definitely.
really the most like fashionable. So can you talk more about like your passion in it and kind of like how you would describe your style?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is upbringing. My pops always made sure I was in something fly when I was a little kid. Like I can remember just looking at my brother doing a music video, and I'm like, I want that same outfit, and then it'll take me and get me the same outfit, just a mini version. And then my brother would catch on to that, and then people in his rap group. I remember they used to make me like custom hats, like, and it would say like my name on it. So as at like 6, 7, 8 years old, that being a standard, I'm thinking, oh, you have to be fly every single time. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh, there's no excuse, right? So getting older, all I'm doing is just trying different things. I'm seeing something that looks cool on this person. Oh, let me get that. Let me try it. Boom. And then even like at times where like it wouldn't even be about even now, like this is like I think Forever 21 or not Forever 21, Fashion Nova. Yeah, I don't even really get into brands like that. I have pieces here and there, but I'm more so about if it looks dope, I'm putting it on. You know what I mean? So yeah, just coming up, just always being around, just fly stuff. It's gonna rub off on you, you know. And then I got best dressed in high school too, which was crazy because I knew I deserved it. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't know they was gonna really vote for me on that. So that was a cool little thing too. I was like, okay. So I dusted my shoulder off with that one, but yeah, jokes aside, I just always been around like just fly outfits, and I just had to just dive into that as well. So
Got you. I actually had a very opposite reaction because my mom was also the same way. We're like, always have to have something new, always have to like stand down and dress nice. And I always just kind of took it as like, I'm so uncomfortable. She's gonna get mad at me like 2 weeks later if I just, scuff up these brand new shoes,
gotcha,
or if
yeah,
I like play outside and I scuff up these pants, I'm done for. And so I just
yeah.
kind of always saw new clothes as such a burden of like having to maintain
You didn't
like
want to,
being
yeah,
clean and stuff like that. Where it's like I just wanted to be comfortable and
exactly,
free to do
comfortable,
stuff.
yeah,
And so it took me a long time, I would say, until like my first serious, relationship to like
yeah, yeah,
understand like being put together,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
can do wonders for a
Mm-hmm.
man and take them
Exactly.
into spaces they wouldn't otherwise be
Mm-hmm.
allowed into. And so now it's like I've kind of been more privy to the fashion, like Enrique over here. I like these pants that he has
Yeah,
on.
Are they the closest?
Yeah,
yeah,
did you
that's
stitch
what's
those
up.
yourself?
No, I actually got these on Shein.
Dang. See, that's what I'm talking about. So it's
See,
like
yeah,
being
it's
more
just finding
cognizant
pieces,
of like
yeah,
little pieces.
exactly.
That's what's up. Well, I think we're kind of coming to the end here.
For sure.
Because I know you have a performance coming up.
Let's do it, man.
So we gotta preserve that voice. Is there anything right now that you got going on that you want to promote and working on next?
Yeah, so we just dropped a song. It's called Dream Again. It's out everywhere, of course. I think it's been 2 weeks now. It's doing okay. We're trying to push a little bit more, but they're loving my song I dropped before that, Exotic, and then the one after that, All Night Long. So we're just pushing those singles right now, man. Gearing up to drop a project really soon. So, yeah. So, man, we doing it.
That's what's up. And then we're still early into 2026. Do you have any big vision goals or anything you want to put out there to say that you're going to be able to accomplish this year?
Man, I want to drop, and it sounds crazy to say my first album because I've been doing it for like 17 years, but I'm going to drop my first album before the year is out. I've always been making music, but I would always do like singles because I feel like molding one unit and then building that momentum and then dropping a project is better than just having a bunch of different projects out, just for the vision that I have for myself at least. So I plan on dropping my first like official album before the year is out. So hopefully around my birthday, that would be cool, like in August, but if not, definitely in the fall. So.
All right, that's what's up. It's been the Lavatory Podcast. Make sure to follow King Titus on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music. Links will be in the description below. And yeah, share your story when it comes to being honest in your pursuit about finding humility and how you find connection, because that's what the Lavatory is all about. It's been your host, Isaiah. King Titus, thank you so much for
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man,
being
appreciate
here.
you for having me, man.
And now coming up after this, we have a live performance from King Titus, so you don't want to miss that. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And yeah, I think we're good here.
For sure.
Dope.
Appreciate you, man.
Hey shawty, where you go? Where you been at? I bet you didn't know I've been staying at that place that we said we would live somewhere, somehow. Girl, I'm still here right now. I'm talking to you. If you endured half what I did, baby, you'll probably be through. Reach for that door, popping your wrist, girl, I'm a gentleman too. Now ain't no doors that I can open for you. What do I do? Tell me, what do I do? Last night I had a vision of you loving on me. Been thinking of you, now I can't sleep till I dream again. I want to, just wanna dream again. I want you. Last night I had a vision of you loving on me. Been thinking of you, now I can't sleep till I dream again. I want to, just wanna dream again. I want you. How's your family been? How's your mother? How's your sister been? Tell me about your brother. Tell me about your cousin. Lately I sit and reminisce when we was something. Now I'm just stuck here with the feeling it meant nothing. Yeah. Scary it was years ago. Crazy how the time will pass. Funny that the feelings grow. Yeah, I'm a man, but I'm still dreaming. The day I lost you, last part of myself, I'm grieving. Last night I had a vision of you loving on me. Been thinking of you, now I can't sleep till I dream again. I want to, just wanna dream again. I want you. Last night I had a vision of you loving on me. Been thinking of you, now I can't sleep till I dream again. I want to, just wanna dream again. I want you. Been thinking of you, now I can't sleep until I dream again. I want to, just wanna dream again. I want you. Last night I had a vision of you loving on me. Been thinking of you, now I can't sleep until I dream again. I want to, just wanna dream again. I want you.
Hey, hey. Dream again, man. Go stream.